Taylor lived in a beautiful little house in Barnsley, England, with his father, mother, and 2 sisters. They had a happy life. But Hudson wasn't a Christian, though his mother was, and frequently prayed for her son's salvation. One day, Hudson's mother went to her sister's house, and the father and Hudson and his 2 sisters were left at home. During that time, his mother decided to pray for Hudson's salvation while she was gone. She began to pray. Suddenly, God told her that Hudson had become a Christian. Indeed, it had. Hudson began reading a Christian booklet, and the words, "the finished work of Christ," jumped out of the page to him, and he became a Christian. He realized that God's mercy and love could save him. Hudson grew up. And he began to work for a man by the name of Dr. Hardy. He began to work as a doctor. But Hudson realized that God had called him to a life as a missionary to China. So, Hudson got everything ready, and he went to China. He had many difficulties in going to China. There were many storms. But along the way, Hudson never forgot that God was with him and wanted him to share the gospel with people in China. He was committed to his cause. They arrived in Shanghai, a big city in China. Hudson, though at first was confused, but began to learn the customs and ways of China, and he began to share the gospel with people there. Though Hudson did need many people with him to help him partner, as Hudson continued to spread the gospel with people there. But Hudson wanted to go to the interior of China, so he and his friend went to a town called Tengchao, a place known especially for its violence. But Hudson was committed to go to the town and preach the gospel there. Little did he know how much trouble he would experience there. Hudson and his friend were about to come and preach the gospel to the people there, but an angry mob soon appeared and wanted to stop Hudson. So they ran at Hudson and almost tried to kill him. The angry mob surrounded Hudson and his friend and started beating him. Finally, Hudson and his friend ran to the Mandarin, who was the commander of the city's house, and begged for mercy. And the Mandarin came out and stopped the angry mob. The Mandarin ordered the mob that they had to go, and even gave Hudson and his friend an escort to make sure that none of the mob members would come back and hurt Hudson and his friend. Now that they had an escort, they could freely preach the gospel to the people of the city. They preached to many people there. But Hudson realized that when he wasn't wearing Chinese clothes, people were often afraid of him. So, Hudson decided to wear Chinese clothes. The people began to love him. He eventually married to a woman named Maria. They lived happily until she passed away. But Hudson again remarried to a woman named Jenny. They were there together for many years. Wherever Hudson went, he began to spread the news about the organization that he had, the China Inland Mission. And until Hudson was very old, he continued to preach the gospel in inland China.